Welcome to the inUpowers podcast, where we give a name and a face to emotion. We discuss the real and raw when it comes to mental and emotional health. We are here to teach you that emotions are information and behavior is a choice. We want to help you make safer connections through healthy communication by empowering you to understand what your emotions are telling you. I'm your host, Tammy Hymas. Let's get started. Welcome to the inUpowers podcast. I'm Tammy.
And I'm Nikki.
And today, for our Moments Minute, we want to talk about parenting. And we want to talk about the things your parents did that you learned lessons from. And what was a good style parenting that you want to mimic. And what are maybe some styles that you're trying to fix. And we have a saying that Nikki says all the time is... Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Parenting, it's a verb.
And for those of you who want to know what a verb is or need a reminder of a verb is an action word. And so parenting is action. It's not just giving birth to a child, but it's actually effort and action. And Nikki, what do you mean by saying parenting is a verb?
I know I can get on my soapbox with this one, and I don't mean to, and I don't mean to offend anyone out there, but parenting, it is what it says. It's an ing word. That means it's an action. It's an action word, but it means it involves doing something. And being an educator for over 20 years, I have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to parenting and stuff. And just being a parent and doing and having that word, I'm a parent because I gave birth to someone, isn't enough.
Or you adopted them, there's lots of ways to become a parent.
Oh yes,
there's lots of family dynamics. But when you choose to parent a child, you are taking guardianship of that child, their food, their shelter, and the things they learn, and that's what we're talking about.
Yes,
and
it's your job to guide and direct them and prepare them to be a functioning member of society. and too many times I see parents not parenting.
What do you mean they're not parenting?
I couldn't get him to go to bed. I couldn't get him up in the morning. Who's the parent? Who's the child? What do you mean you can't get them up in the morning? You turn on the light, you take their covers, and you tell them to get up. And if they need assistance, then assist them. No one's saying beat them, but you can assist them up. You know, if they don't go to bed at night, why are they not going to bed at night? Figure it out. Did they come home and take a nap after school and so now they're not ready to go to bed? If that's the case, then you got to work on not letting them fall asleep when they get home from school. My child is a prime example of this. I have to work really hard. He's a teenager and he comes home and he tries to go in his room and take a nap. And then when it's time to go to bed, because he got school the next morning at 10 o'clock at night, he's not tired because he's wide awake. So guess what I have to do? I have to go in there and I have to open his blinds. I have to take his blankets. I have to, and he's like, Mom. And I'm like, I'm sorry. He goes, but I'm tired. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry. You're tired because you're going to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning instead of at 10, and then you're doing the same cycle the next day. So it's my job to help you not fall asleep until it's time for bed. It takes an active effort on my part. The kids don't rule the house. When you have a child or become a parent in some way, that child becomes a part of your family, not the center of your family. And
Let's say that again, because I think a lot of times it is very easy when you work so hard to have a family or you've wanted a family for so long, and children are adorable. Like, let's be honest,
they are
so cute. So, but you said they become what?
A part of the family, not the center of the family. The family does not revolve around the child. The child revolves with the family. That means the child does not dictate bedtime. You do. The child does not dictate what time you eat. You do. The child does not dictate what is bought at the store. You do. And I think we forget that. And yes, it's okay to give your children a choice, when you're buying groceries and things like that.
Especially if it's their snacks.
But ultimately, it's your decision. I'm not paying $100 for a pair of jeans. I will give you some money towards it, but then you'll have to get the rest. But I am not paying $100 for a pair of jeans.
Right.
You know, things like that. Like having why they want designer clothes or whatnot. I'm not going into debt to fuel your clothing choices.
Especially with how fast you grow.
I know, right?
Right.
You know, things like that. But like parenting, you can't just place your child in front of the television and expect the television and electronics to teach your child. You should be reading with your child. You should be engaging with your child. Now, I'm not saying that you have to entertain your child 24/7.
Actually, you should not.
I know, because I know someone who has that problem. That their child cannot self-regulate, can't entertain themselves, can't play by themselves, and throws a big fit if they don't get the attention they need from mom or dad.
And no one can get that much attention from anyone.
No.
That's impossible.
No. And because where's the imagination come from? Where does the ideas come from? And stuff, but you should spend time with your child every day, talking with them. You know, when their child is in school, you know, how was your day? Good. I get that. You know, well, that's not going to cut it. Of course, you're just going to say that. But you can, like we used to do, highs and lows. Give me a highs and lows of your day. You know, that kind of thing. And get involved with what's going on at school. Get involved with what's going on with their friends. Know who their friends are. You know, that's part of being a parent. Knowing who their friends are, where they're at, where they're going to be. No one said you have to be regimented, but you have to be involved. Like, our neighborhood, growing up in our neighborhood, was the best neighborhood ever. I wish I could take that in a time capsule and keep it forever, you know, but these kids ran the neighborhoods together, and all the different families treated each other's kids like they were their own kids.
Yeah.
You know, but
That's magic. That doesn't happen anymore.
Oh, I know. We were definitely blessed with that. But my rule was you can't just go from one house to another without letting me know.
Right.
Because I needed to know where you were at. And if they didn't tell me, the next time they didn't get to go to their friend's house, you know, because they had to learn, you need to tell me. It's not that you can't go.
Right.
But it's the fact that I need to know, because if I need to get a hold of you for some reason, if I need you because there's been an emergency or something, I need to be able to find you. And I can't be calling up 20 different people trying to find you. So just let me know where you are.
Right.
So when I say being a parent, it's a verb. It's about being active in your child's life, knowing who they're hanging out with, knowing what they're doing, being that person to help teach and guide them on their path, you know, about teaching them responsibility and having consequences for their choices, you know, things like that. That's what being a parent is being actively involved. You see too many times now where kids say they don't have relationships with their parents. Right. Well, that's because they never had conversations with their parent. You know, they didn't have those real conversations, and where they could come to them and talk to them about their concerns and their fears and their excitements and their dreams. You know, you want to have a relationship with your kid for the rest of your life. But if you don't build that foundation when they're younger, you're not going to have it when they're older.
And the thing is we get it. You're tired too.
Yeah.
You got up. You had to make the food and buy the food and earn the food and pay for the shelter and figure out how all of the pieces fit together and get this project done in time for work, or be able to be on time for work, and or go to work or be gone for a week because of work, or whatever it is that keeps your family running in whatever circumstance your family's in. However, you have to make time. Now, does that mean I have to make time all day long, or at like the certain time, or how much does a child really need attention wise?
I actually don't know the answer to that, but I do know this. One of my favorite times is the 15-20 minutes a day at the end of the day. You know, that's when my kids figured out if they could procrastinate going to bed, that they talk to mom.
Yes.
You know, and talk to mom, then I can procrastinate and not have to go to bed because mom wants to talk to us and snuggle with us. and so, you know what? We still do that. My 17-year-old still does that, you know, and I love it. And so guess what? I'm dealing. I let them stay up because we're talking. They're telling me about school, their friends. We have some of our best conversations. It's only 15-20 minutes because we had been so busy throughout the day, because they have jobs, sports, school. I have jobs, you know, other responsibilities. So we do the best we can with what we got. I know some of my students' moms and dads would work 2 jobs. But guess what? When they were home, It was quality.
Right.
You know, it was quality.
So it's
and
not
they
about
knew
quantity.
Right, oh, it's definitely not about quantity, but they knew they were loved. And it was that quality, that quality time. That they knew that they were invested, that they cared about where they were going, what they were doing, how they were feeling, and that they wanted them to succeed in life, that they wanted them to be healthy and happy. It's that quality that it's there. And I just think we've gotten away from that we've let electronics take over our lives to where we're like this, our kids are like this, or on the TV, and that communication and that connection is missing. We're not reading to kids like we used to when they were little. We're not having those conversations at the dinner table like we used to. We're just missing out on that connection. And I get that we're all busy and stuff like that, but guess what? You signed on to be a parent.
Mm-hmm.
And that means responsibility.
Right.
And that means action.
And with that action and not having dinners and stuff together and the electronics, a lot of times they think that they're communicating because they sent them a text or a meme or some kind of way of doing it. But have you seen the children that are on devices struggle with connections outside, like with at school too? Or
Oh, yeah.
are they?
Because how can you have a conversation? Can you have a phone at school? Even in high school, my son has to put his phone away. And some of the classrooms have a little thing where you have to put your phone in the little slot, and so nobody has their phone. Well, how do you have a discussion in class?
Well,
But you don't know how to have a discussion in class. You don't know how to have a difference of opinion and work through it. You don't know how to work in a group project because you've never had to. It's these things that we're missing, because if you think about to when you and I grew up, in elementary school, you've never had a cell phone.
No.
But boy, do we have problems with watches.
Yes.
Okay, we have problems with those kid watches now. But you had to talk and you had to have discussion. But kids don't know how to play with each other on the playground. They don't know how to go up to each other and say, "Can I play?" Or "How do you play? This game? Can I join?" They don't know how to communicate because no one's had conversations with them.
And they need to learn to communicate at home.
Yes. I don't think people understand that, yes, as a teacher's job, I'm there to educate your child, but I'm supposed to be teaching certain subjects. I'm supposed to be teaching academics, right? Not social cues and social interactions, right? I'm not supposed to be teaching them how to be a good person. I'm supposed to be reinforcing how to be a good person.
Oh.
Like a parent's job is to teach their kids how to be respectful and how to behave. And then when they're at school, I reinforce that good behavior. I reinforce that respect and common courtesy. But when they're not taught those things at home, how am I supposed to reinforce them? I have to stop and then teach how to be a good person, how to be a friend, how to be respectful, how to not talk to someone, how to talk to someone. I'm having to take time out of academics, teaching them reading, math, science, social studies, that stuff, to teach them how to be a good person, about being honest, about being truthful, about doing their best, about I think I really feel that a teacher's job is being turned into the parent and a teacher all in one, so that parents don't have to be parents anymore.
What are parents doing? Where are they? If you're seeing the ones that are not being reinforced and things like that, what are they doing? Where are they? Or can you even tell?
You know what? We are in a different phase of parents now. We are a different generation of parenting. And social media, electronics has really changed parenting.
It has.
It really has. And it's changed it because of communication, right? It's changed because of communication. And, you in your Moments Minute, you asked about what were some of the parenting things that your parents did that were good and some that were bad and things like that. And what worked for you, what didn't work for you. There are things that my parents that did were good, and there's things that my parents that did weren't good. And then as a parent, I've adjusted accordingly,
right.
But I think they're not getting the examples.
Because it's changed.
It's changed.
And we do
like
need
that.
to learn how to live in a world with technology. AI's just come out. and we have a way to, I can talk to somebody literally on the other side of the planet in real time and see their
Yeah.
face. And in fact, I was
How
on,
amazing is that?
it was brilliant. I was on a Zoom call, and this gentleman was driving home from India in traffic, and I was seeing Rakshas drive while he was talking to us on the phone. And we were like, because he wasn't quite home yet, and that was the internet he had. And I was on a Zoom call in the kitchen in my living room on the opposite sides of the planet. It was incredible, and I love those pieces of technology. But there's also pieces that we might need to check ourselves with and see what does feel resonate, that's right, and that actually encourages action in our behavior and with each other. And I've watched social media, and social media is not all bad either. It's also good. We're on social media,
Right.
Like there's positive and
Well,
negative
everything
we
in
draw from.
moderation, right?
Exactly.
You know, I mean, you can eat as much chocolate cake as you want to, but at some point it's going to give you a stomach ache,
Right.
you know, and stuff like that. So there's nothing wrong with social media and technology, but moderation.
Exactly.
You know, when people, wasn't it Marcy who was saying that the average person spends 6 hours on their phone a day or something like that?
Yeah, or 8, or I don't know.
I don't know.
Screen time
It
a
was
lot.
like screen time was like a lot because people are checking their social media, watching videos and
Well,
things
and doing
like
their
that.
work on their screens. We
Oh,
do
yeah.
our work on our screens besides this right now today, but
Yeah, true.
a lot of our work is on screens. And so we are using screen time to communicate with the world. We don't wait for a letter anymore.
That's
We
true.
send an email. And if I need to ask somebody what they want for lunch, I can text you instead of call you. And you know what I mean? There's ways to communicate that people can eventually get to, which has been really great. However, it's also made it hard, I think, for some of us to actually do this kind of connection.
Right. Because by not communicating with your children and not taking active part in their life, they don't know how to do that with other people. You know, active interest in friends, active interest in, you know, what's going on with other people, and learning about compassion, learning about things. Struggling readers, they can, they have studies that go right back to parents not reading with their kids
Wow.
when they're little.
So it is that important.
Yes, reading with your kid is that important.
And letting them self-regulate and showing up in their life.
Yes.
And it's about quality and not quantity.
Have you seen those commercials that show the kid's face when the parents show up at the recital or whatnot?
Yes.
And stuff? That's what it is. A kid knows when their parents there and parents not there. You know?
Yes. Well, I actually saw a study. I don't know the findings of it, so you can fact check me. I hope to find it. Somebody can send it to me. But there is a video of the brains of children and their mothers, and then children and their fathers. And when the mothers were nurturing the children, their brains were igniting. And when the fathers were playing with their children, their brains were igniting. But when the father was playing with their child and on the phone, the child's light in the brain was dim. And it wasn't igniting as bright. And same when the mom was loving a baby, but on the phone, that the light in the child's brain was low. And I was just flabbergasted. And so then I went to work and I asked my stylist, and I said, when you're working on someone, can you tell if they're on the phone or not? And it was an immediate yes, like all of them, 100%. Because when you're doing hair or you're in a salon, it's one person working on one person, right? And so I said, when they're on the phone, is it easier or harder to work on them? And they all abundantly said harder. And I said, is it hard to interrupt? Do you want to interrupt them? And they said, no, because they wake up mad. It's like they said, it's like they look up mad. And I was shocked that even after seeing that commercial or whatever that video was, I hope to find it again. Then I verified it with our psychologist too,
Right,
and
yeah.
he agreed. So it wasn't like I'm giving false information. But then to go and ask my stylist the same question and have them 100% give me the same information. It's like that parenting piece. Not only do we need to be involved, but we need to be actively involved. Like you
Right.
said, it's an action word. We need to put the phone down to create that quality. We need to participate together.
Yeah. Yeah. Whether it's TV, phone, anything that is not helping you to connect. Because what a child learns is that they're not important.
Oh,
I mean, think about it. If you're trying to talk to someone and they kept ignoring you, How would they feel? How would you feel? If someone kept saying, yeah, in a minute,
Right.
in a minute,
in a minute. It wasn't important.
You know? And which is worse than a parent be working 2 jobs.
Right.
Think about it. What is the message sending to a child when a parent is working 2 jobs and then comes home and loves on you and puts you to bed and starts all over the next day?
That they couldn't wait to get home to see me.
Well, that, and my mom's working hard for me.
Yes, that too.
She's working for our family. She's working hard for us to put food on the table. My mom and dad, whoever, grandma, right. grandpa.
Guardian.
They're working hard because they care about me and want to make sure that there's a roof over my head because they love me. Someone, a parent who says, just a minute, in a minute. I'm too tired right now. What message does that send?
That you're a burden.
Yeah, and that you're not important.
Wow.
So, I mean, and you may not meaning to do it on purpose.
No.
But that's their little brains, what they think something's wrong with them.
And that tends to be the natural autopilot of all of our brains. If we're not getting what we need, it must be our fault. That is just what our brains tend to do. So, parenting, it's a verb. It's an action word, and it means that we need to be involved in our children's lives. And it's important to parent your children. And the reasons why we put the inUpowers program together was because connections and communication, safe connections, are really, really missing. And we've actually seen a common thread with the survivors we've helped and the people that are at risk, that making a connection was really hard for them. And so they were drawn to the dark and the ugly because at least they accepted them. And and healthy communication, they also struggle to communicate with healthy people. And so when we've built this inUpowers program, we really wanted to make sure that we could communicate and we could connect. And we want to strengthen your families. And we want you to put the effort in to parenting your children and to who you're a guardian over, and to having the courage to make it uncomfortable for a minute until it becomes comfortable, and to following through with the consequences and the accountability to all the things that it takes to raising good humans, because we are pretty brilliant and we are amazingly made to be great, and we can help each other or hurt each other, and it's not our teacher's job, it's ours. And if we put in the effort and do the things that it's important to, we can make a better tomorrow. And
absolutely.
And I had, when she said parenting is a verb, and she's like, I don't know if I should wear that on a t-shirt and stuff, I'd remind myself that a verb meant action word, because I was that out of the reality of like school and adjectives and conjugatives and all this stuff.
That's right.
I'm learning a lot more because Nikki's around. But anyways, it's very important for us and for you to remember that we need to take action in our own lives, and that we need to recognize what we're doing, and that we're building the life we truly want to build. And remember,
emotions are information
and behavior is a choice. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. See you
Bye.
next week. Bye. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the inUpowers podcast. We are grateful you are here. Please share this podcast with those you know who might need it, and follow and rate us so we can continue providing this podcast to you. Follow us on social media to see more visuals about the inUpowers, and join us next week for another episode. Until then, remember, the power to choose is in you.